James Lynch here from MiddleEasy. Happy to be joined by Joanne Wood, who's going to be fighting this Saturday, UFC Fight Night, taking on Taila Santos. Joanne, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Not as good as you, though. Congratulations on getting married. Was this always planned to do the wedding like during your upcoming fight, or how did this all come together with you getting married to your coach, John Wood?
No, so I was, after my last fight, I was doing the usual waiting to get back in there, and I hadn't heard from the UFC, and I was like, maybe we could get married because we had been putting it off for a long time. So I just took the step and I booked my wedding because John had a free weekend, luckily. And yeah, so then the week after I booked it, I got a date for the wedding. Then the UFC called, and I was like, oh, but hey, let's go.
There you go. That's awesome. And it was like a themed wedding, right? Like kind of like Halloween style or something. Whose idea was that?
Well, John loves Halloween. Also, I've kind of grown to love it over here. Like America, they go big on it. So, yeah, we both love Halloween, the holidays and things like that. So, and it was the day before Halloween, so we decided to make it a Halloween themed wedding.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I'm more of a fan of the modern day wedding as opposed to like the traditional one. So when I saw that, because I saw the photos, I know all the fighters that you train with, they were posting photos. It looked really cool. So glad to hear that all went well. And if I'm not mistaken, you also have a new contract, correct? This is your first fight on the new contract?
Yep, it sure is. And excited to have another 4 fights in the UFC. Feel great right now. Feel like I'm in my prime, and yeah, just ready to keep continuing this goal of mine to stay active and keep getting to keep working on my goals and just keep getting better as an athlete and a person outside of the octagon as well.
And that must give you like a nice boost going into this fight, knowing the promotion's behind you, and they obviously see something in you if they're giving you a 4 fight deal. I know your last fight was a split decision, but it was still a loss, so you must be feeling pretty good about everything heading into this fight.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Like after like my last fight, I'm coming off a loss, and I still managed to get another 4 fights and pay like an up in my pay. So yeah, I'm feeling really happy and grateful that I'm with the UFC and can be happier.
Yeah, and in a change in opponent, you were supposed to fight Alexa Grasso. Now you're fighting Santos. Has there been much change in terms of your training camp for the new opponent, or how have you approached this fight?
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed. To be honest, I was really looking forward to the fight with Grasso. I felt we're both strawweights coming up to the flyweight, finally getting to fight someone from that was coming up instead of coming down. And I know she's a fun fight, and this fight is not. It's still going to be fun, but it's not going to be as fun, I feel. Uh, so yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, but still, I'm glad I'm still on the card and still got a fight, and uh, I will just try and make it as fun as I can.
Style wise, how do you look at this fight? She's got an 18-1 record. She's done quite well, but I think I'd argue you fought better competition overall. How do you look at this fight from a style perspective?
Yeah, for sure. She's definitely got a padded record from, I feel like only until she got into the contenders, she started fighting kind of girls with better records, more experience. So I know she's tough. I know she's grueling. She just fought my teammate Roxanne. So I'm guessing it's going to be pretty much the same fight. Obviously, I don't want to go in there and expecting that. We want to expect might want to stand there and make it a stand-up fight. But for me, I think she's going to do the same kind of thing. She likes to kind of push it against the cage and get it to the bottom. And if she's doing that with Roxanne, who's well established on the ground, I'm pretty sure she's going to want to do that with me.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Roxanne. Who else have you had a chance to work with ahead of this fight as far as training partners?
Ramona, Picasso, Gian, Kim, uh, there's so many girls right now in the gym, but those three are kind of be my main training partners.
Yeah, and the gym seems like there's a really good vibe. I can't tell you how many fighters I see now training at Syndicate. It seems like a hotbed right now. Have you noticed that as well? Just more fighters in the gym than usual?
Yeah, and I've noticed like it's good people and it's like what we are kind of building. We want to build a family environment, you know. We don't want people coming in with egos or, you know, like thinking they're better or, you know, we want to keep it a fun, hardworking environment, but you know, you leave your crap and your ego at the door and you come in and you just you work as a team, and that environment is what me and John is looking to build. And because you know we're in the hardest sport ever, like, and we come in and we put our bodies and minds through hell, so we want to build that environment for people to kind of get the work done, but also like know that there's no egos, there's fun, we can have fun at the same time.
Yeah, no, well said. And we're on fight week. Obviously, seem like you're in a good mood. I imagine the weight cut's going well.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can't see my cheekbones yet.
There you go. That's good to hear. And I imagine John will be in your corner. Who else will be in the cage with you that night as far as your cornerman?
Yep, my coach Jerry and my training partner Ramona.
Oh, awesome. That's good to hear. And how do you envision the fight playing out this Saturday? Obviously, you feel like you're going to win, but how do you think it'll play out?
I'm just going to go in with an open mind and just kind of and try and enjoy myself. This has been a great camp. I've came up against a couple of injuries, but you know that's the same at every camp. So yeah, just go in and enjoy it, and yeah, see what she brings to the table.
The implications of this fight are huge, and I think they're still big, even with Grasso being out of the fight. Do you think it's possible with the win here, you could finally get that title shot? The reason I bring that up is because if you look at the rankings, I think this, you know, you especially, if you get a win here, you're the one fighter that Valentina hasn't fought yet.
I know I think I would be a bit gutted if I never do get to fight Valentina. It would be like the one that got away.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that if that our paths are meant to cross, then hopefully. But yeah, I've been starting to think maybe Dana has to do like Hunger Games or something for Valentina, because we're all like kind of behind her, and like he says, I'm the only one that's not fought her yet. But also we've got Andrea Lee that's just coming off a great win at the weekend there. So there's still competition there, and I'm sure there'll be competition coming up in the rankings.
I'm sure you've thought about it. If you and Valentina were ever to fight, how do you look at that from a style perspective? Because your striking's great, and we've seen it, you know, time and time again of you being in these really close fights.
Yeah, I feel like my toughness would get me through a lot of damage, and just having the Muay Thai background of what Valentina's coming from, it would make for a different fight and a more exciting fight. And also, like you just saw Lauren Murphy fight her, she was very hesitant to like engage with her, whereas I don't give a shit. If I'm going to fight, I'm going to fight. So it doesn't matter who it is, uh, and I'll go out with my sword. So I think that would be the difference.
Yeah, you touched on it there. I was going to ask you about Murphy, and because of course you fought Murphy in your last fight. What did you think of, you know, her performance? Were you surprised a bit, like you said, that she didn't maybe go for it a little bit more in that fight with Valentina?
Yeah, I was like, come on, this is your chance. You like scraped a win off of me for that. I was like, okay. So yeah, but I'm sure she has to live with that. That was her one chance. Now she has to kind of get herself back in line for that. But yeah, she blew it.
Is that a rematch you want down the line, you and Lauren, just because of how close that first fight was?
Yeah, I wouldn't say no to that one. I'm not like, oh, I'm seeking revenge or anything. It is what it is. We fought, we won. She fought, she won. She was probably the only one, her and her team. But yeah, like I said, it is what it is, and that wasn't my path. So stay focused and get back to work.
Your old division, strawweight, just had a really good title fight a few weeks ago. Rose Namajunas successfully defending her title against Zhang Weili in the rematch. How did you score that fight? Because some people felt like Zhang did enough to win, but others were like, no, Rose clearly won. How did you score it, and what did you think of the fight?
I thought it was a great fight. I'm a big fan of Rose. I thought she won hands down. I ain't no judge, but looking at it, I was watching it as a fan. Uh, thought it was a great fight. But yeah, I believe Rose won. Uh, I'd like to see the third fight between them. Uh, but yeah, it was great. It
Okay.
was another fight.
And then obviously the big question has been who's going to fight Rose next. I mean, there's a few names out there, but Carla Esparza, someone who, was on your show, The Ultimate Fighter, she has a win over Rose. Do you think that makes the most sense, or do you think Marina Rodriguez has done a bit more?
I would like to see Carla Esparza. I think I mean, both of those fights would be great. I think Rose should just be like, line them up, let's go, stay active and get those paydays. I can see Rose holding on to the title for a good little while.
And one more name I wanted to mention, Kayla Harrison. I don't know if you've been watching her at all in PFL, but she's a free agent right now. What have you thought of her rise so far competing for PFL?
Yeah, she's inspiring too. She believes in herself, which is always nice to see and inspiring. Because for this sport, that's something you need to do, and you have to own it, and then you have to go out there and back it up. And she's doing all of those things. So yeah, I've not watched too much of her, but I've been watching the highlights and hearing about the news and stuff. So. Uh, it'll be interesting to see what the next chapter is for her. I like Cyborg as well, so I'm kind of liking that the news of that maybe happening. That would be pretty cool.
From what you've seen, though, how do you think that would play out? Because you're right, that's a huge fight that they could do if Kayla does decide to just go to Bellator as something other than the UFC. Because Cyborg, just we saw her last weekend, she got another first round finish. She looked great.
Yeah, I think she's looking great, but it's going to be one of those great fights with, is Cyborg still got it? Can she keep up with the new generation that's coming through? So I think it would be a really interesting fight, and would be interesting to see who actually, the old generation or the new generation, she's still got it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And my last question, I have to ask this as a Canadian and a huge hockey fan. When I saw you wearing that Golden Knights hat before we got on here, I got really excited. When did you become a hockey fan? I got to know this because I feel like the last time we did our interview, that wasn't the case. I know you were in the NFL, but when did you get into hockey?
Yeah, so I've been going to a few of the football games, and I'm getting into them. But then John was coaching the ice hockey, the Golden Knights goalie, Robin.
Lehner,
And
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
that makes sense because I saw John with your manager and Robin Lehner the other day.
yeah.
They took a photo together. Okay, this makes sense.
So he was in the gym, and he likes to do martial arts. So yeah, he's awesome on the pads, and I was watching him, and then he was sparring, and then he gave me and John tickets to go watch the game, and we've just been going every chance that we can, and I love it. Like, it's taken over like football. I'm still liking to getting to know like the different plays and all that, but ice hockey, and I I've been on the ice with some of the ice hockeys for one of the in Sweden when we done a kind of fighters guest. We showed them some martial arts and they showed us ice hockey. So I've always like looked up to them because I know it looks easy, but it's very very hard. And yeah, so I've just been going to a few of their games and I love it. The atmosphere is great and yeah, it's just non-stop action and when I know the goalie, I'm like it's a little bit more stressful, but it's really exciting. I've been loving it. So yeah, you could say I've found a new hobby. Not that I'm going to do it, a new hobby to watch.
Yes. Okay. No, that makes sense. And how's Robin when it comes to training? I didn't even know he was into martial arts. Is he looking good? He's obviously a great goaltender in the NHL.
Yeah, he's like a massive guy, and he moves really really well. and I'm not going to be in a rush to get in there with him to show him anything or spar with him. But yeah, he moves great, and apparently he likes to box, so he done it before he got to when he came to the gym. But yeah, it was awesome to see that.
Awesome. Joanne, thanks so much for doing this. And again, congrats on getting married. That was awesome. If anyone hasn't seen the photos, it's all over social media. But in the meantime, if there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I've just hooked up with Icon Meals. They're great, and they actually helped me a lot these past few weeks because I've been running crazy, organising a wedding and doing fight camps. So big ups to them and my team at Syndicate Mixed Martial Arts, and also the UFC Performance Institute, who's they're just awesome and helped me a lot this camp.